this passport space, a phrase that is often used among people would be the term passport privilege. And in today's video, I'm going to be going over my own experiences with passport privilege and analysing whether it is a real thing or whether it is just a myth. Well, based upon my experiences and based upon my own opinions, I would have to say that passport privilege is certainly a very real thing, and I do actually have some experience with it that I think is worth talking about, just so that you can understand the levels of different treatment you can get based upon the different type of passport you have. I remember about a year ago I was in Portugal, and I landed at a Portuguese airport, and I'm in a very long queue. I flew over from the UK. I'm in a very long queue. Mainly everyone there is British. There's a few Portuguese nationals, but everyone there is pretty much British. And we're standing in the long queue waiting to go through the border. I, for some reason, can't find the other border zone for the European Union citizens. I didn't think they had one. And there's a security guard going down the queue all the time, going down this way and that way, this way and that way, asking people stuff. And he keeps asking them, British, 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 are you British? And everyone says, yeah, shows them their blue passports, what have you. And then he's sort of, he's sort of like smiling at them, but not in like a friendly way, but sort of in a mockery type of way. I was still to this day, I'm not too sure what that was about. Then he's going down the line, I see him getting closer and closer to me. And I start hearing him ask people whether they're British or not. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe I should let this guy know that I'm not British, so maybe I can get put somewhere else or something so that I can get through quicker. And I pull up my passport and I say European Union. He looks at me and goes, EU, and I go, Sim. And he goes, in English, perfect English, he goes, please sir, come with me. His body dynamic and his semantics changed when he knew what nationality I was. Which I think is super interesting, because had I have just said, yeah, British, and shown him my British passport instead, he would have probably just smiled at me the same way and gone forward. However, I imagine that any other EU nationals who are flying into European Union territory from a non-EU country, they will probably experience the same thing. And another story to verify that passport privilege is a thing is if you fly into a country like the UK or the Republic of Ireland, we now have e-gates, which I'm not really that big of a fan. I don't like giving power over to the machines, but anyway, we have e-gates. And when you fly into the UK, all right, British citizen, you go through the e-gate. And EU citizens can go through it too, and they don't get asked any questions. They just scan their passport through the e-gate and they're let in. Fine. But that's only accessible to British and EU citizens, which is quite interesting to me, because I would have always figured, based upon my own experiences at airports, that Japanese, Singaporeans, South Koreans, Americans, Australians, Canadians and New Zealanders would also be allowed through that special zone. But no, in British airports now, when you go through the border, the ones that I've been in, you're only allowed to go through the e-gate if you are a British or an EU citizen. In that way, it is a lot faster. You can definitely see this in airports in the United States. If you go to the United States on a holiday, maybe you move there for the first time, then you're going to be absolutely baffled at how long the airport queues are, because you just have to be in the foreigner queue. It's just how it works. And it's super, super long. So passport privilege is definitely a real thing. I don't really hear people saying that it isn't a real thing, but if anyone is out here thinking, yeah, it's not really a real thing, it just depends upon how you behave with the certain border guard or anything, trust me, it's a real thing. Because I don't think if I would have had some weak-ass passport that I would have been treated the same way in Portugal or in the UK or any other country in Europe or even in the United States, where they go, please sir, come with me, or welcome to our country. They would have sat me down and interrogated me for multiple hours just because of a type of passport that I might have had.